And we are about to be reacting. Survived at sea. I don't know, man. What should we react to? We got all kinds of stuff we could do. We could do scary videos. We can do, people surviving in the wilderness. There's all kinds of stuff for us to react to. What should we react to, chat? Let everybody hop in. Just refresh the stream. Ooh, yeah, ooh. Rap da 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 do do. Um, I do like scary stuff. Let's do scary videos. Yeah, camping, that could be good. 6 most disturbing, nah, that's too long. 6 most disturbing camping encounters ever caught on video. That one's 36 minutes. We could do that one. Let's react to that one.
Seeing movement in the woods.
H-O.
No, it's not.
There's something unsettling about the woods after dark.
Also, shout out to Proper Scary. This is their video.
Every snap of a twig, every rustle in the trees, it all feels wrong.
Let me turn that down a smidge.
Tonight, we're exploring 6 chilling encounters that were caught on camera, each one more disturbing than the last. If you thought camping was peaceful, think
You'd
again.
be wrong.
Let's jump straight into the first
Camping
encounter.
is evil.
The first video tonight comes from Ranga Trips, an outdoor adventure and travel channel that focuses on exploring remote natural locations, often showcasing camping, hiking, and survival experiences. It is April the 12th, 2024, and this time, he's taken on the challenge of solo camping on a public beach.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Hey, what's up, Andrew? This scene right here, for one, I can't swim. Let me just be clear about that.
2024, and this time,
1 second.
he's taken on the challenge of...
That scene, to me, to a lot of people, that scene's probably peaceful, and I'm sure if you were there, it'd be nice, but, like, what I'm looking at right now, other than dude's creepy face, I don't know what's going on here. That's pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie to you. We might even have our thumbnail. But something's off. I don't know if it's the dead grass, the lighting is a little dark, like it just looks creepy to me, man. Nature's nice when you're there, but when you're looking at it, that looks creepy to me.
Solo camping on a public beach, right as a severe storm begins to
That's
roll.
what I was gonna say. I don't know what storms look like on the beach. I live near beaches, but like, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm not trying to be out there.
With the sky darkening and winds howling across
Bro's
the
just
exposed
begging to
shoreline,
die.
it quickly becomes clear that this isn't going to be an easy night.
Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
bang. All right.
Bless me.
Okay, now what do we do?
Maybe you should know that if you're out here in the storm.
Chuck it in the fire pit. Get some sticks on there, brassy.
What are you watching? I am watching 6 most disturbing camping encounters ever caught on camera. After this, I'm gonna react to something else as well, so if you're still here, hop in chat and let me know what to react to next. I was thinking like ghost videos, but then I was like, you know what, these camp videos are weird too. Like the outdoorsy camp videos.
Yeah. Sure. Oh my god, we got fire, baby.
You got fire with a stick. Hold on. Bro literally has a tent, aka shelter, made out of tiny sticks that he hammered into sand with a rock. And a fire made with some dead grass and a couple sticks. I know when you generalize a lot of things, that you could say that about a lot of stuff, but like, you guys seen what he has here, and there's a storm coming? That's terrifying. That's more scary than anything paranormal, bro. You are in danger.
Ugh. Please burn.
That's gonna last like 5 seconds, bro. You got like 3 sticks in there.
Okay, unfortunately I lost that fire. We'll try one more time.
Do you not have any logs?
Come on.
Why are you just trying to make a fire out of
Yeah,
kindling?
baby. Okay, come.
That it's already a fourth of the way.
Let's go. Let's take you to the flame. Come on.
This dude should not be camping. What are we watching? That might be the dumbest thing I've ever watched.
Now, this stuff doesn't... Let's go. Let's take you to the flame.
I literally had to rewind it. Please tell me you guys are seeing this. I'm gonna play it one more time.
Come.
He's got the fire lit.
Now, this stuff doesn't... Let's go. Let's take you to the flame.
And then he grabs it. What are you doing? What are you doing? There's not a single reason that I could think why you would do this. Not a single reason. The only thing that I could even say is maybe if it's so windy you can't light it. But why would you... If you can't light it where your fire's gonna die anyway. So that doesn't even make sense. What in the world? This dude's an idiot. Again, these are like twigs, bro. That fire is going to burn quick.
Flames, bro.
One gust of wind put it out.
Noticed it's like 10 o'clock already. Time to set up the sleeping arrangements.
As the storm creeps closer, he tries to get a fire going.
Don't be this guy, people. Don't think that you could just know anything about DYATLOV Pass. I feel like there was a map on a game called that, but nah, I don't think so. Don't be this guy though. Don't go out here thinking you know how to survive just for content. You are putting yourself in some serious danger if you don't know what you're doing out here.
Managing to light some dry grass and timber, but the flames just won't stay alive. Every small gust seems to undo all his hard work.
Shall we look that up next? DYATLOV. How do you say it? Spell it for me. Hey, thanks for the follow, Bryson. I appreciate you. We're almost at 800. Yeah, bro's realizing he messed up here. Are you blowing something up right now?
Fire going, but yeah, anyway.
I mean, look, I don't camp. DYATLOV, okay. Yeah, that does not look fun. I called from the beginning. I don't know how to camp. I've been in a camper before. I've personally never even like spiked a tent. But looking at this, I'm immediately like, this dude has no idea what he's literally palming fire. Well, burning kindling. He's got twigs for a fire. He hammered in 3, like, these sticks right here that he has. I'm dumbfounded. This is supposed to be scary, not stupid. Buddy, you're not going to be stronger than the storm that is also picking up wind on your tent.
Every time there's a strong gust of wind.
That is terrifying. I mean, it's just rain at this point and wind. So, I mean, technically he could probably just get up and leave everything there. I'm hoping he has a car nearby. Why does that give me so much anxiety? Dude is an idiot. This is so stupid. I was expecting to see people like stalking people and stuff, not a storm. And a goober that don't know what he's doing and is ill prepared.
The wind switched direction.
Dude looks miserable, my god. We got all kinds of thumbnail footage on this one. Good lord.
Into the top. Oh my god.
Well, you got crow's feet. You know better. This was stupid of you. Those are his spikes. He's also got spikes, but you're spiking them into sand, you idiot. Oh my god, I'm about to rage. Your spikes in sand are not going to be stronger than storm winds.
There's another one. These pegs, this is the biggest peg that I have.
You're
and it won't stay pegged in the ground.
spiking it into sand.
Screwed. I have to stop. I have to give up. That's it. I'm abandoning this route. Wind change direction. It's absolutely howling. Every part of that top that was tied down with the with those sand pegs just flew out. There was some super gust that came. And
Some super gust.
And I was just like, oh my god, I'm just lying there and the top's just flying. Guys, don't camp on a beach with sand pegs.
This ain't we might be switching videos because this ain't disturbing. This is just stupid. Alright, yeah, that one was bad. That was the #1. Okay, let's see #2. The last chance.
A YouTube channel focused on off-road motorcycling.
Okay.
And motocross adventures.
I was just seeing if it was one of those like wire ones.
Quarries and rugged trails. The channel captures thrilling first-person rides, but also shines a light on the unexpected dangers riders sometimes face.
It's Hillbilly Willie,
It
looking
is
very
June
angry.
26th, 2019, and during what was meant to be a peaceful ride through an open field next to a wooded area, things suddenly take a dark turn.
Field of Hillbilly Willie. Hillbilly Willie on a motorcycle is a crazy pun. That's a double entendre for sure. Hillbilly Willie. Willie, like a motorcycle? I feel like dirt bikes would be fun if they weren't so loud. Johnny K and Willie are old friends, but they show their affection to each other in some very special ways. Here comes the Hillbilly Willie.
Who is this guy?
Looked like he was trying to get off his bike. That's creepy. Buddy, I don't know how good you think you are at riding dirt bikes, but if some random person comes out of the woods and starts following you in overalls, you need to get away from him as fast, or her, as fast as possible. What are you doing? This has to be scripted. There's absolutely no way you play around with a hilt. Nah.
As the biker enjoys the open terrain, a man appears from the woods, clearly angry. Without warning, he kicks the dirt bike mid-ride, causing the rider to fall to the ground. The situation escalates rapidly.
Berce! Gün!
Schenken zu schleppen!
Berce! Me!
Schenken zu schleppen!
Instead of leaving, the biker trolled a little more, so he went and kicked the other guy's dirt bike. But it looks like both of them still didn't have enough. And this time his moped probably leaked a whole tank of gas. What? Ryder should leave, but he keeps going back. Exactly. This is the dumbest. These are so infuriating. Like, I'm literally getting a headache from aggravation. You're lucky this guy didn't have a weapon when he knocked you down. You're lucky he didn't attack you. Clearly, you're not about that life, or you would have knocked him out as soon as he kicked your bike. What are you doing? You are playing with your life, kid. This ain't elementary school. What are you doing? Hey, thanks for the follow, Morgan. I appreciate you. What are you doing? I don't understand why you're not leaving. Like, you're literally playing with this guy who is trying to hurt you.
Dazed and disoriented from the fall, the rider scrambles to regain his footing as the man continues to shout. Thankfully, the camera...
If this dude wanted to hurt this person right here, he could have messed this person up.
...keeps rolling, capturing just how quickly things went from calm to chaotic. The biker manages to get away before things spiral further, but the encounter serves as a chilling reminder.
That one
When
was
you're
creepy.
out in the wilderness, you never really know who or what you'll run into. Sorry to interrupt the video.
Nope, we ain't doing the ads.
Mysterious investigations. Run by Master Hughes himself, the channel dives deep into paranormal exploration.
Okay, we got a spooky one. Let's see what's going on.
Happenings in remote forests, mountains, and abandoned regions. It is September the 23rd, 2020, and while filming in a remote mountain region surrounded by dense woodland, Hughes suddenly spots something unsettling. A large, dark figure lurking in the distance. He instantly knows this isn't just any regular forest animal.
I've got my little light jacket on, but I'm seeing movement in
He sounds like Dr. Phil.
the woods. I can't tell what it is. It's really big.
He sounds just
It
like Dr.
appears
Phil.
to be very dark in color. We're going to try to
This guy
ease
means
up there
business.
to it and see if we can get a picture.
And we're up here in the mountains shooting a film.
We'll be right back,
And
okay?
yesterday we were coming up this trail, and I heard it, and couldn't see anything. But as we crossed over the next hump in this trail, this is what we found.
Mud? Okay, that looks like bear balls, does it not? I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a bear, a Bigfoot, a gorilla, a human being. You're literally, assuming that's not fake, you're literally standing where it walked. Leave. That's as simple as, like, you have all the confirmation you need that something is nearby. Why are you still there?
Now, for those of you to know, that is a bear print.
Okay,
and so
that's...
apparently he was on the trail just above us and we couldn't see him because of the humps in the trail and everything, these breaks. So anyway, that's some of the risky.
That's crazy. I knew that was a bear. Hey, I'm really him, huh? Nah, that's crazy. I've never been hunting. I don't know how I knew that was a bear footprint. Maybe that's just common knowledge. I don't know.
Take when you're out.
Just have to glaze myself a little bit. You know what I mean?
Video or some other type of film out in the middle of nowhere. You got to be careful.
The following day, he returns to the area and finds a fresh...
Following day, he returns to the area. Are you begging to be mauled?
bear print pressed into the dirt, just a few feet off the same trail, hidden by a hump in the terrain. This chilling discovery confirms that a bear had been incredibly close to them the previous day, completely unnoticed. If the bear had spotted or felt threatened by them, things could have gone very
To be
differently.
fair, though, I don't mean to be this guy. That is terrifying, but, like, not all bears are just gonna straight up maul you for no reason.
Thankfully,
but, I mean, you don't want them near you.
Still, the thought of being that close to a wild predator without even knowing it
for sure.
is truly unsettling. It's a sobering reminder of how unpredictable nature can be, and just how alert you have to stay when venturing into the wild.
I also don't feel like that was a
it's
scary
easy
video,
to prepare
though.
for wildlife, but what we rarely expect.
6 most disturbing camping encounters. Yeah, we might switch videos. That one was...
What truly unnerves us.
That was bad, I'm not gonna lie. Let's do, what was it? The DYATLOV pass? I don't know what it's called. What was it called? Let me go back up. Diet. Oh my god, what is that?
The bodies of 9 hikers were found scattered across the snow on a mountain in Russia. Rescuers were sent to find them only to discover their tent had been cut open from the inside. Their bodies were found laying in the snow, and some were only dressed in their underwear. 2 bodies were missing eyes, and 1 was missing a tongue. They had fled the tent barefoot in sub-zero temperatures. 1 had a fractured skull, another had a twisted neck, and others showed signs of massive internal injuries. Though investigators ruled it as a natural event, like
a natural event where? If there's no situation where your head gets turned all the way around and that's natural. There's literally, like, okay, maybe hitting your head, fracturing your skull, maybe birds ate their eyeballs out or their tongues or something. I could even understand that, even though it's less believable. But Buddy's head was turned all the way around. What predator or animal is doing that? Only an intelligent being is doing that. Like hold up.
hypothermia.
Hypothermia! I had to make sure.
The bizarre details continue to fuel.
How is that hypothermia? Am I tripping? Hypothermia twisted this dude's head all the way around. Oh my
The
god.
theories, some far darker than a natural event. The bodies of
Okay. Alright. So that's crazy. Wait. So that was like a summary of what was supposed to have gone on or something? Should we watch the 17-minute one or the newer one? Let's watch the newer one. Good lord.
In the winter months of 1959, a group of 9 young, experienced hikers began their journey into the Ural Mountains of Russia. This wasn't the first cold weather trip that these hikers had taken, but tragically, it would be their last. During the trip, the hikers encountered something in the supposedly desolate region that led to the deaths of the entire group.
What is this video, though? I don't think this is a video from there. I mean, we'll get the information, but this is like some Blair Witch footage or something.
What exactly happened that night is still unknown, but the incident has since become one of the world's greatest mysteries, with the details and evidence being some of the most shocking that I've ever investigated.
The DYATLOV Pass incident. Created by Nick Crowley.
So to preface how we know so much about this story, cameras and diaries belonging to the group were actually found at the campsite that show the actions and the thoughts of each of the 10 hikers. And
how does a camera show a thought? Not to be that guy, I don't want to keep pausing. But let's not do that. Anytime he says something stupid, I'm gonna call it out. It showed their thoughts. How does a camera show their thoughts? It's cool they found a camera. I'm interested in what they're going to see on that, but it didn't show their thoughts. What are you talking about?
Because of the cameras found at the campsite, many of the photographs used within this video are going to be actual shots taken by the DYATLOV group. The story of the
DYATLOV
Pass incident began at the Ural Polytechnical Institute, where a group of current and former...
Hello, I don't know if this is what you wanted to look up, but it should be about what you expected from me.
Students formed a crew
I don't care.
to trek across the Ural Mountains. Now, the ski trip was not what you would expect from a group of college students. Each of the members of the 10-man group were certified Grade 2 hikers, and the completion of the trip would make them Grade 3, which at the time was the most prestigious hiking certificate in the Soviet Union. Because of this, the trip was quite serious, with booze and cigarettes being left behind in order to avoid distraction. The goal was for the hikers to reach the mountain of
kids? Well, I don't necessarily want to say kids, but they seem younger. Like, I have a lot of questions.
In the track,
good to see they were focusing, though, you know. At least they're not out here getting wasted, all right?
Hikers would be taking was rated at the highest possible difficulty. Still, though, the group remained confident that they would be able to complete the journey, as they were properly prepared and properly trained. Their journey started on the 25th of January.
Did it say there was a reason they were doing this?
Towards the village.
I didn't catch that.
There, the hikers rested for the night and began their hike on the 27th.
Just to do it, I guess?
But for one of the hikers, bad luck would strike early. Just one day into the hike, the then 21-year-old Yuri Yudin began...
What? This is something completely irrelevant to the video, but when you see people with like these photos like this and why everyone just looks eerie and like uncanny from back in the day, they had to sit still for their photos. So like, I don't know if it was at this time, I believe so based on the image quality, you had to like, for your photos, because you had to sit still. You can't, like, it's going to be hard to be like, for 30 minutes or however long it takes. So I think that this like evil glare this guy's doing is because he had to sit still for the photo. He's just making a normal like relaxed face, you know what I mean? I was literally gonna comment on it like, bro looks like Satan or something, but yeah, they used to have to set still for the photos. That's like the soldiers. If you ever look up like World War II photos of soldiers and stuff, they're just like holding a rifle, like it's funny to watch, honestly.
And to suffer from severe joint pain. Yudin had been plagued by many health problems over the course of his life, and the limitations it placed on him were obviously quite frustrating. But in this case, his untimely health problems may have actually saved his life.
Hey.
With the pain in his joints becoming too much to bear, Yudin decided that he would only slow the hikers down if he stayed. So he said goodbye to his team.
W-Mans, I got out of there.
Completely unaware of the tragedy that was
Bro,
soon
imagine the trauma you would
departure
have.
of Yudin left the group with 9.
You leave because you got joint pain, and then you, like, everyone else gets massacred, and no one ever knew what happened to them.
People, 7 men and 2 women. The leader of the group, Igor Dyatlov, was said to be extremely knowledgeable and experienced, and by all accounts, he was a very well-respected leader.
But, like, I know that they didn't have the internet at this time, but, like, y'all didn't have nothing better to do? Seriously? You couldn't have made, like, a game or something? Threw some football, like, throw rocks at each other or something? Like, y'all had to go on a crazy, impossible hike.
As a group traversed
Right.
through what is now become the Dyatlov Pass, severe weather had caused them to lose their bearings and eventually
It's
end
in
up
Russia?
on the
Yeah.
side of the mountain
I suppose.
Polatsaito, or as it was better known by the local Mansi tribe, Dead Mountain. It was late at this point, and the weather
It was known as Dead Mountain. I think that they in their head were like, well, the only thing that'll stop us is ourselves, and we'll just, like, we got such a big group, we can, like, pull out if we need to or whatever. But here's the thing. If you're on a hike and you're like, man, I'm so far into this hike, but I can't make it, you still gotta hike back. So, like, you would have to know long before your limits before you could turn around. Also, they probably weren't factoring in animals. Bigfoot could have grabbed someone's head and twisted it around or something. I don't know. Yetis, you know what I'm saying? The Yeti from Monsters and Inc. that was giving people snow cones or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, they didn't factor in tribe people. They didn't factor in anything like that. I could see it being a tribe of crazy people thinking like someone was coming to attack them or something.
It was anything but stable. So Dyatlov made the questionable decision to pitch the tent and hunker down until sunrise. It's believed that none of the hikers would make it that far. In the midst of their trip, Igor Dyatlov had told Yuri Yudin as he was leaving that the group would send a telegram once they had returned back from their...
This is completely irrelevant to this video, but after this one, we're going to do a food reaction. I don't know what it is, man, but watching a food reaction is like... it's just built different. I don't know what it is, man. If you're hungry and you do a food reaction, it's like... man.
Journey.
So we're going to do one after this because I'm
16
hungry.
days, but a few extra days were possible due to the unpredictable weather of
Y'all
the
come
region.
up with what food
Yudin
we're
had
going to
waited
watch.
For the telegram for
We can watch, wow, that thing looks like it's like literally 10,000 years old. But we can react to how food is made, the best of this food, all of that kind of stuff. You guys try to come up with something, see what we could come up with.
weeks, but it never came. This caused him to report the group as missing, and by the end of February, a search party was underway. On the 26th of February, a search party was able to locate the tent in which the hikers had spent their final night in. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that the tent was cut open from the inside by one of the hikers. With these hikers being as experienced as they would not have done this unless they were extremely spooked by something, and the condition of the tent shows that the group likely cut the tent open from the inside in order to flee from something. And think about...
that's what I was going to say, maybe something like knocked their tent down?
how crazy this is. Something had to scare them so badly and make them want to flee so quickly that they sliced open their only bit of shelter.
I don't think it's necessarily that they wanted to slice open their own shelter. I think it may have collapsed on them, preventing them from being able to move. I don't think it's like, oh, we either unzip it real quick or we slice it. I think it's like, we're literally under a collapsed tent. We can't move. Grab a knife, cut it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I would think. But I'm not a detective, so.
Not only this, but the hikers had fled their tent so quickly that most...
Also, they said they were found in their underwear. Even out here, bro, people ain't sleeping in their underwear. It's way too cold, so they got stripped down. Somebody stripped them.
were not wearing shoes, and none were properly dressed for the negative 30-degree temperature.
Exactly.
With some venturing out of the tent in only their underwear. Perhaps even more shockingly, the footsteps of all 9 of the hikers were discovered heading away from the campsite, which revealed something strange.
How would the footsteps be found?
Rather than the footprints being sporadic, as one would expect if they were running away from something, they were instead extremely organized. One by one, the hikers walked single file down the hill in their bare feet and socks with hardly any clothes on, as they slowly began to freeze to death. Between the cut-open tent...
I mean, hey, if you've seen one of your buddies get his head twisted around into a 360, you might be running butt naked down the hill too. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I see buddy get his heads turned around like you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
In single file walking, it's already very clear that something very unusual had happened that night.
For
but things
sure.
only got stranger as the bodies began to be discovered.
Alright, we might get some graphic imagery here, so
seems suspicious.
just brace yourself.
Investigators set out on the morning of February the 27th with high confidence that the members of the group would be found alive. The tent was located and the footprints were located. Now all that's left to do was find these extremely experienced hikers. While combing the area around a patch of trees, a member of the search party noticed that there was something brown sticking out of the snow near an old cedar tree. As they approached, they noticed that all of the branches on the lower part of the tree had been broken off, which might have suggested that somebody had possibly tried to climb it. Remains of an old fire were found under the tree as well, and next to this
I was
fire
gonna say,
was
or
where
they
the
made a
first
fire.
bodies were found. Yuri Doroshenko was the first hiker found. He was lying face down in the snow, wearing a short-sleeved t-shirt and swimming trunks. He was wearing 2 socks with no shoes. Doroshenko had a large burn on the right side of his head and on his foot. Along with this, he also had gray fluid coming out of his mouth.
Gray fluid? Burns on his head and foot.
His body was covered in scrapes and bruises, and his ears, nose, and lips were covered in blood.
Okay, irrelevant to the discovery of his body, I was gonna say conspiracy mode. Maybe they were getting close to something like military that they didn't want people to discover or something, and they sent some trained people out to kill him or something, like, or something like that. I could see something like that, like, oh, there's people coming, go out there while they're sleeping, and I could see something like that, but I don't know. That's wild. Gray fluid. Where did they get gray fluid? What's funny? Nothing about this is funny. I'm gonna need some context. Oh, that I say that? Oh, okay, okay. I'm assuming there's more context to that. I was about to say, you're crazy. Bro's out here spewing gray fluid like a Krabby Patty when when they made the Krabby Patties with the goo.
It is speculated that these injuries were self-inflicted and done.
So he burnt his hands, his head, his foot, had gray fluid coming out of his mouth, scrapes and bruises, and his ears, nose, and mouth were covered in blood by himself. Who investigated this? I understand this was a long time ago, but good lord. I can understand maybe burns and maybe scrapes and bruises from like running through the trees, but his ears, nose, and mouth are covered in blood, and he's leaking gray fluids? What are we talking about?
Out of agony, as Doroshenko was quite literally being frozen to death. The gray fluid found coming out of Doroshenko's mouth is typically a sign that the body had experienced a strong force to their chest cavity. This perhaps
Oh, and he did that to himself? Bro got hit so hard, bone marrow came out of his mouth.
suggests that Doroshenko had possibly fallen from the cedar tree, or that somebody else had pressed on his chest with extreme force. Despite these strange findings, Doroshenko's official
I've never leaked gray fluid out of my mouth. This is really getting disturbing.
cause of death was labeled as hypothermia, and the detail of the gray fluid found in his mouth never made the initial report.
Yeah, these cops had to have been in on it or something. I understand things definitely have evolved and stuff, but like, how do you not report that?
23-year-old Yuri Krivonishenko was found lying next to Doroshenko under the cedar tree. He was found wearing a long-sleeved shirt and a single sock. His body was heavily bruised with multiple cuts as well. Burns were found on his foot and up his legs, as well as on both of his hands.
When we're saying burns, are we saying like fire, or are we saying like frostbite, like ice burns? Because like, I don't, what do we mean by burns?
Inside of his mouth, a chunk of his own knuckle was found, which may have been done while Krivonishenko was biting his knuckle in order to either stay conscious or to stop himself from crying. Later investigation.
Bro bit his knuckle off. I would believe that. I would believe, like, because like they tell you to do that to keep like blood flowing to your brain and stuff or something along those lines, but like, bro bit his knuckle completely off. Well, I guess he probably didn't bite it. Yeah, he had to have. That's crazy. Could be burns from the fire. Well, that's what I'm saying. Why would they all have burns on their feet, legs, and hands? 2 for 2 have burns on their hands, feet, and legs. What kind of monstrosity of a fire did these people make? And they were also in their tent, allegedly. So they were in their tent. Somehow fire had hit them so hard that it burned their hands and feet while they were sleeping in their tent. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't make sense. Something's already off really badly.
Revealed that both of the first 2 bodies were moved after death.
Both of the first 2 bodies were moved. Okay. This is weird.
In order to either
This
stay
is
conscious
super weird.
or to stop himself from crying. Later investigation revealed that both of the first 2 bodies were moved after death. What may have happened in this situation was that other members of the group found the 2 dead and put their bodies in an orderly manner out of respect.
Buddy, just stick to making videos. You are not a detective. That's not what happened to those bodies. You are a goober and a half for that suggestion. That might be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. The others put them together for a show of respect. If they're scared to death and freezing to death, you think they were like, oh, let's just pick up their bodies and carry them over here and for like ceremonial respects. No. Here we go with this stupidity again, man.
Other members of the group may have took the men's clothing to divide up amongst themselves in a desperate attempt to stay warm.
So all of the other bodies were found with clothes, right? Because if you tell me they're not, you...
The next body to be found was that of Igor DYATLOV, the leader of the group. DYATLOV was found face up with both of his fists clenched, and his body had also been clearly manipulated after his death. DYATLOV
So all 3 bodies had been manipulated after death so far.
Had abrasions and bruises on both of his ankles, as well as cuts and bruises on his face.
Again, that could be caused from running through the trees. I will say that. Also, I'm not sure what kind of like strain on the body hiking does. So like bruising and stuff could very easily be, you know, maybe using your wrist to hold yourself up on something. I don't know.
had also been clearly manipulated after his death. Dyatlov had abrasions and bruises on both of his ankles, as well as cuts and bruises on his face. He was missing an incisor in his jaw, and the coroner reported that these injuries were consistent with that of those caused by a fistfight. His official
How would he get bruises and abrasions on his ankles from a fist fight? I hate to be insensitive in a moment, but like, what? Alright, so the incisor, hold on, let me... I believe I know what that is, but I just want to be sure. I'm gonna Google it real quick. Okay, so that's like your front. I thought it was your back teeth. Those are your molars. Okay, got you. Why didn't you just say he's missing a tooth or something? I don't know.
death was hypothermia.
Run that by me again?
In his jaw, and the coroner reported that these injuries were consistent with that of those caused by a fistfight. His official death was hypothermia.
I'm not gonna tear that apart because he could have still died from the cold. But like, we don't know that was his cause of death. That's all I'm gonna say.
Zinaida Kolomogorova was the first of the women to be
Zendaya.
found. She was found better dressed than the others, but one of the sweaters she was wearing had part of its right sleeve torn off. She had abrasions on both of her hands and bruises on her face. Another long bruise was found at the side of her body, which apparently showed consistency to a hit from a baton. These injuries show a potential sign of struggle, and her official cause of death was labeled as hypothermia due to
I need to hear this again.
wearing had part of its right sleeve torn off. She had abrasions on both of her hands and bruises on her face. Another long bruise was found at the side of her body, which apparently showed consistency to a hit from a baton.
Dude, I'm telling you, the only people that really would have, like, there could have been strangers out here, military personnel, stuff like that. I could see something like that. But the only other thing that I could see being out here is like, they said that they were waiting on a telegram from them. So somebody knew, like, they were out here hiking and stuff. I don't want to say that whoever knew chased them down and killed them or something. I think that's a far reach, but more so I would go with the idea of military personnel. I think something like, who is out in the woods that has a baton? Maybe a bat or something, but a baton is a very specific type of injury, so...
These injuries show a potential sign of struggle, and her official cause of death was labeled as hypothermia due to a violent accident.
Okay, so she got the violent accident one. So, okay, alright.
Both Kolomogorova and Dyatlov were likely trying to make their way back to the tent when they both perished. It wouldn't be for another week that the next body was found. 23-year-old Rustem Slobodan was found on March 5th, lying face down and covered in snow. He had internal bleeding in both of his temples and a large fracture on his skull. Whatever caused the fracture and hemorrhaging is unclear, but medical experts concluded that Slobodan likely survived the injury for up to an hour after it had happened. It is theorized that Slobodan became extremely disoriented and dizzy after suffering these injuries.
Yeah, if the picture that I seen in that TikTok or YouTube short was any indication of how bad it was, bro's head was busted in half.
And collapsed on the ground. Still conscious and awake, Slobodan quickly died of hypothermia. His body too showed signs that it had been moved post-mortem.
They're all moved.
Months would go by until a member of the Mansi tribe discovered a den created by the...
Look how miserable all of them are because they have to stand still for this picture.
The surviving hikers. This den was a last-ditch effort for the remaining 4 to survive the frigid cold, but ultimately, it was unsuccessful. Ludmila Dubinina was found with her body draped over a natural
That's a crazy name. Lamina de Benina.
ledge, with running water flowing directly next to her body. The tissue around her lips and her mouth were missing, exposing her teeth and her upper jaw. Soft tissue was also missing in other parts of her face, revealing her cheekbone in one area. 10 of her ribs were broken, and massive hemorrhaging had occurred in her heart. Both of her eye sockets were empty, meaning that both of her eyes.
So she got her face completely ripped off. And Jesus Christ, dude.
Had been removed. This wasn't the only feature on her head that was missing, however. Dubonina's tongue had been removed, and it was nowhere to be found.
Now, I have heard about animals eating tongues and eyes. Broken ribs could be from... I'm not a biomechanical engineer, so I can't tell you. Maybe it could have been from falling on a rock or something like that, but like... Nah, that's crazy. What happened to her face? Was it wear and tear? Was it because her body was in the cold? Because I'm sure they've found other people on like Mount Everest and stuff like that in comparison where they just missing flesh off their face. I don't think so. I've never heard any cases like that.
Blood found within the stomach suggests that she was alive when this occurred. Her cause of death was hemorrhaging had occurred in her heart. Both of her eye sockets were empty, meaning that both of her eyes had been removed. This wasn't the only feature on her head that was missing, however. Dubonina's tongue had been removed, and it was nowhere to be found. Blood found within the stomach suggests that she was alive when this occurred.
She was alive when her tongue was removed. There ain't no animal eating your tongue while you're alive. I've heard of like maybe some vultures or something. What in the world? This is terrifying. This is like change you as a person disturbing. Like, what are we watching here? My bad, chat.
Cause of death was hemorrhaging into the right atrium of the heart, making her one of the only deaths to officially be ruled as something other than hypothermia.
So she didn't even die from hypothermia. Like, she didn't fall and then die from hypothermia. She had her face ripped off, her tongue ripped out, her eyeballs ripped out, and then a broken 11 ribs, and then died from hemorrhaging in her heart. Good Lord.
Zolotorov, the oldest member of the group, was found
what could even do
prepared
that
for the elements than the others.
Again, it has to be there's foul play here. Something had to have done that. An animal doesn't rip your face off, rip your eyes out. Like, that's crazy.
He had 3 pairs of pants on, and he wore a long jacket over his sweater, with 2 hats, a scarf, and boots.
It's too
Despite
specific.
him having at least some preparation for the cold, he too perished along with the others. Much like Dubonina, Zolotoryov had mysteriously suffered injuries to his chest, resulting in 5 broken ribs and a flail chest. He was missing tissue along.
What is a flail chest? Let's look up what a flail chest is. Flail chest.
According to Wikipedia,
Fractured segment will sink into the chest with inspiration and expand out. What? I feel like that's a bad explanation. Life-threatening medical condition that occurs when a segment of the rib cage breaks due to trauma and it becomes detached from the rest of the chest. Okay, so not only did he have broken ribs, but then he had literal ribs just floating around inside
his right eyebrow, which revealed his exposed skull bone. He also
So his eyebrow was ripped off, he had 5 broken ribs and then floating
had a deep
ribs.
gash in the back of his head, which too revealed blood. Zolotoryov was also found without eyes. His cause of death was quickly ruled hypothermia, despite the strange unexplained injuries that he had suffered. Both Zolotoryov and Dubonina had suffered their chest injuries whilst they were still alive. Medical experts concluded that their injuries were caused by a large force and could not have been caused by another human. Their internal injuries were similar to something you would see from a car accident, but despite this, neither had any bruising or marks where the force would have hit. This point alone continues to baffle researchers and remains unexplained how it could even be possible. Alexander Koletov.
What in the world? Are we dealing with Satan? What in the world? Hear no evil, see no evil? What is going on?
Was found near the den.
How? Look, if researchers can't figure it out, I certainly can. So I don't.
Though not ideal, his clothing was better than the majority of his companions. However, there were rips and tears found on his jacket and on...
We've decided that inactivity... What? TikTok's tripping over here. Said it detected inactivity. Like, bruh, I'm streaming, relax.
On his pants. Along with these rips, burn marks were found on his jacket and socks. Kolevatov was missing both of his eyebrows, and bone could be seen where they once were.
They
His
ripped
nose
their
was
eyebrows
broken,
off,
and his
broke
neck
his
was
nose.
deformed, meaning that it was likely snapped. A gash was also found behind his right ear. Despite the clear and obvious signs of a major struggle, the autopsy was left vague and concluded that he too had died from hypothermia.
Somebody did these people wrong, bro. And the worst part is not only did whoever or whatever did this do it and get away with it, the investigation was god awful. I feel like, man, someone's just collecting eyebrows facts. Like, I don't know what to say, man. When investigations are done this poorly, it is truly injustice for anybody, anything. Like, it's not right that these people, like coroners and stuff like that, are vague and blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, what are you doing? You have one job, do it properly. If you can't do it, then get someone else to do it. Like,
the vagueness of the autopsy was fairly consistent with the remaining victims found in May of that year. Little explanation was given to any of their injuries, and the autopsies were found to be very misleading.
Now, again, I understand they may not have had the medical information to go deeper on that, but, like, y'all gotta do something, bro. Literally just mark down, and we don't know. We don't know what this is.
Nikolai Brignoli was similar to Zolotaryov in the fact that both were somewhat prepared for the outdoor elements. It is long since
but they weren't prepared to get their chests caved in and their eyebrows ripped off.
Brignoli and Zolotaryov were outside of the tent at the time that
there were crazy injuries. Document them. Exactly. Like, bro's head was twisted around and y'all didn't document that?
Fled, which would explain why they were already prepared for the cold. Brignoli was found with bruising on his lips and on the lower left side of his face. He had bled internally on his lower right forearm. Along with this, his skull was fractured and cracked all over the left side of his head. These fractures would have had to have been caused by an extremely powerful force, but no damage was done to the soft tissue on the top of the fracture.
See, that's what's weird.
Meaning that, again, another human could not have inflicted these injuries.
That's stupid. That was a really stupid thing for you to say. Humans are capable of anything. I mean, even if it was a machine or a weapon or a vehicle or whatever. But, like, it's very weird that they're saying, like, the soft tissue. But see, is it just not documented? Is that the only reason it's a mystery, is because it wasn't documented properly? And if it was documented properly, it'd be like, oh, well, obviously it's this. Or, like, is it documented and now we're looking at it and going, we have no idea what hit these kids? I don't know. But from what they said with him, it sounded like maybe he could have fell, busted his head open, blah, blah, blah. Like, I could get that one. Tried to catch himself with his forearm, hit it on a rock. I could see that. But then the soft tissue didn't have any damage. So what are we, like, I don't know.
Upon suffering this injury, Brignoli would likely have been in an unconscious state and would have died no more than 3 hours later. His death, too, was officially blamed by a powerful force that could not have been caused by a human.
I think A powerful force is all you need. If you say it couldn't have been caused by a human, you eliminate a lot of things that it could have been. For instance, someone throwing a bowling ball at your head. I don't know. A pickaxe. Like, there's literally so many things that are possible. When you say it couldn't have been caused by something, but we don't know what it is, that's ridiculous. That you just sound stupid. Must have been Karen Reed's SUV. I'm weak.
Each and every one of the deaths on the DYATLOV Pass seems suspicious. All of the hikers had bruising and cuts on their bodies, specifically on their faces, and most had other shocking and disturbing injuries that were left unexplained.
What is
but
this
one of the more
screen?
shocking things
Why did bro give us an audio visualizer? He didn't find any more footage, so he just gave us an audio visualizer of his voice? What in the world?
revealed in this case has yet to be discussed in this video. It is believed that the last 4 hikers had taken clothes from some of the corpses once they had passed away in a desperate attempt to survive the freezing cold. So when the final 4 bodies were found, they were all wearing clothes from the victims who died before them. It was discovered that on these clothes, trace amounts of radiation were detected. And adding to that, radiation was also detected in the entire area of the DYATLOV Pass at the time. It is believed that there is no natural way that this radiation could have been found on their bodies, but an explanation as to how it got there has never been offered. Looking at these deaths as a whole, no part of the situation seems to make any sense. From the ripping open of the tent, to the single file walk down the mountain, to the horrific injuries, and finally the radiation.
Okay, they said they had burns on them. Did they hit radiation and get radiation burns? Did they start to trip out because they were burning? No, because they were still missing their eyes. Well, look, when this is what gets me. Let's say they did go crazy, just hypothetically. And they ripped their own eyeballs out because they were going absolutely nuts. This is stupid, I know, but just bear with me, alright? Let me cook. They ripped their own eyebrows off, they ripped their eyes out, scoop them out, whatever, because they went crazy. And then they had radiation burns or broken ribs because they fell, whatever it might be. I don't know. I got nothing. Because I was going to say maybe the radiation burns or something, but this doesn't make sense. They could have, like, tested their fingernails or something if they found their fingernails and been like, hey, we know they didn't rip their own eyeballs out because none of them had, like one of them didn't rip the other one's eyeballs out either because they didn't have the DNA on their fingers, or it didn't look like their fingertips had been dug into eyeballs or something. Like, there was no eye juice on any of their fingers or something. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, you know.
Everything just seems out of whack, which is why this case has become one of the most mysterious of all time. And due to its popularity and widespread appeal, thousands of theories have been put forth as to what may have caused all of this.
Yeah.
Here are some of the more popular ones.
Okay, that's what I like. I'm glad we're getting here. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, this dude killed this video. Nick Crowley, you did your thing here, man. I will say this, though. I ain't gonna forget about you doing that audio visualizer, man. You did good the rest of the video, but I ain't letting you slide on that. Everyone else might have looked past it. Nothing gets by over here. I like the way you set this up, though.
One of the earliest theories to come out of this event was the idea that the local Mansi tribe had killed the hikers. As I mentioned earlier,
I could
a
see
storm
that.
had caused the hikers to wander off course and end up on what is now known as Death Mountain. The mountain was home to the Mansi people, and it was theorized that they attacked the hikers when they ventured onto their land. One piece of evidence to support this was the fact that a Mansi chum was found just a few hundred meters away from the campsite. Supposedly, a chum was a symbolic structure that was created at the time of a sacrifice. Could the Mansi people have sacrificed the hikers or killed them for stepping onto their land? It could be somewhat possible, and taking a look at the pictures that the DYATLOV group had taken prior to their death, it is clear that they were stepping on the land of the secluded tribe. The tribe isn't always welcoming to visitors, so perhaps this led to a conflict. What could also support this theory
See
was the
that?
fact that the Manchi people knew this land better than anyone else in the world. Perhaps they could have covered up their tracks and staged the murders in such a strange way that they knew it would never be solved. Now, this theory is so intriguing to me because it would answer why the hikers fled their tents so quickly. Perhaps they realized they were about to be attacked and they tried to escape from the tribe. Also, it would explain why they walked single file down the hill, because maybe they were being led there and told to do so. Ultimately, the theory for the Manchi people having killed the hikers.
Let's not just use the single file theory for that though. Maybe someone had a gun pointed at them, something like that. I could see something like that as well. Not just the tribe. It could have been military, police, so on and so forth. So I could see that. The single file line thing is, but I also, you know, maybe you're like, I can't see nothing, it's dark, I'm just gonna keep my hand on you so we don't get separated. Hey, what up, Demon?
Sounds somewhat believable. But at the end of the day, if you really dig into it, it doesn't make enough sense. How would this explain the injuries suffered by the hikers? The coroner clearly said that a few of these injuries could not have been caused by a human.
That's because you're an idiot. Anything can be caused by a human. We can use all kinds of things. Okay, entertain me this. If it wasn't caused by a human, what was some of the things they could have been caused by? Until then, it could have been caused by anything.
So that alone makes this theory very unlikely. Plus the idea of them covering up every single one of their footprints.
It honestly feels like that's the most likely.
Seems far-fetched.
Also, saying they covered up their footprints seems stupid as well, considering there's snow? Maybe the snow covered their footprints?
Finally, the chum that was found in the area of the hikers' disappearances was likely for the sacrifice of a moose, which they would have then used for food. This seems to be confirmed by the moose antlers on top of the structure, and it's now been practically debunked.
Okay, I can see that.
That the Manchi people ever even performed human sacrifices. As time has gone on, it has become so...
That's fair, honestly. And to be fair, like, we see a lot of tribal stuff and we look at it like, ooh, that's creepy, but a lot of times it is holistic, humble stuff. Like, hey, we killed an animal, we gotta sacrifice it and build a statue and say our prayers so we can have forgiveness, but we have to eat. Like, so I get that, and it is messed up that we unfortunately put a very negative spin on tribal stuff, but at the same time it's unknown to us, so it's kind of creepy, you know, who's taking corpses and putting them on sticks and stuff, you know, but to them it's, you know, they gotta do it to purify their food and all kinds of stuff.
Somewhat clear that the Manchi people were used as an early cop-out as to what happened to these people, but years later the theory has since been debunked, leading us to look for answers elsewhere. Our second theory is an explanation as to why the hikers fled their tent so quickly. For them to practically destroy their main piece of shelter, they had to have been certain that their lives were in danger.
You don't know that, for one. It could have been anything. It could have been someone farted and it smelled really bad, so they had to vent it out. It could have been, I mean, it could have been anything. Let's be clear about that. I'm not saying that I don't understand that perspective, but maybe if they were all burning to death, maybe the zipper melted. I don't know. Everything's on fire. They're all burning alive. They have to get out. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think that it necessarily means that it was like immediate, we have to get out, so much as like maybe they couldn't get out another way. Maybe snow had collapsed on top of the tent. But like if we're looking at this picture here, which is supposed to be a picture of the alleged tent, there's snow on top of it. And from my understanding, these pictures were taken when they were first found. And if that's the case, also it's kind of crazy, but you can see if you look at the photo,
and they had
hold on
to why the hike.
Okay, But you can see that the tent is covered in snow and it looks like it collapsed mainly because it cut. It was cut. Well, actually, I might be stupid. I think I'm stupid. I think yeah. But I mean, it still has snow on it, which means it was snowing. Why does it look like whatever that is has like a smiley face on it? Do y'all see that? Am I tripping? It looks like someone drew a smiley face with teeth on it. Let me see if I got a piece of paper. I got a piece of paper around here somewhere. Hold on. It literally looks like somebody drew this. Hold on. Let me cook. It literally looks like this. Tell me it doesn't. I don't know if that's in focus or not. Hold on. I can't see it when I'm covering it. Hold on, let me fold it. Let me fold it. I don't know if y'all could see it well. Here we go. That's what I see in that little thing right there. My bad. Random sidebar.
Hikers fled their tent so quickly. For them,
that's the spirit of the mountain haunting them. I debunked
they had
it.
to have been certain that their lives were in danger, and they had to think that this danger was approaching so quickly that they had to leave without proper provisions.
I don't know. I don't necessarily. And here's, well, it was cut from the inside. How do we know it was cut from the inside, though? These investigators suck. Not only do these investigators suck, someone could have, like, stuck something sharp through it and then pulled it, like, internally like a hook and then, like, pulled it down, which would have made it look like it was ripped from the inside as well.
Because of this, and the location of the tent, many now believe that an avalanche had caused the hikers to flee that day. Though this specific area is not known for having frequent avalanches, they were camped at the base of a mountain, meaning that they could have been in a direct path of an incoming avalanche.
I can see that.
This theory would explain why the hikers cut their tent open in such a...
Could I, though? Because I was going to say the snow cover and stuff, but if that was the case, wouldn't it have covered the feet prints? Wouldn't it have covered, like, maybe they didn't know the snow wasn't near them, so they ran out? I don't know.
Hurry, and left the safety of their shelter with only light clothing on. And for obvious reasons, this has been the widespread theory that many have settled on.
Dude, avalanches are terrifying.
However, it's not without issues. For starters, this theory doesn't explain how the hikers suffered such serious injuries. Remember,
I mean, they could have fell. I don't know about ripping their eyebrows and eyes out.
Those who had suffered broken bones showed no signs of tissue damage near their injuries. This is significant because if an avalanche had caused a rock to strike them or caused them to crash into a tree or something like that, there would have been significant damage to their tissue.
So what is the suggestion? See, this is the only thing that I don't like about this guy. This guy is only using the facts. He's not speculating. But he's also using theories that other people made. So it's like, you can speculate a little bit. We don't have the facts of what did it. So we have to speculate on what was happening. What can cause issues to bones without causing issues to soft tissue? Like, I should say damage, not even issues. They're breaking bones, but they don't have any... But it said they were covered in bruises and stuff as well, so how are we going to say they didn't have bruising? I don't know. I think it was just investigated poorly. I don't think it's fair to say that the bodies didn't have bruising, because how do you even break a bone without soft tissue damage? That seems absolutely impossible.
Around their broken bones. I mean, there would have been at the very least major bruising.
Exactly.
And they would have been completely covered with cuts and scrapes.
But that's the case for literally anything. There's nothing that can break your bones without, like, at least somewhat, unless something gently pressed on you for like gently pressed until it applied enough pressure to break your bones. But even then you would think there would be some sort of bruising or something. That makes no sense. I don't understand this. Something was clearly reported wrong. It's more likely that there was soft tissue bruising and that they were just beat to death by somebody with batons than to say that they didn't have soft tissue bruising because a report from 1958 said so.
From head to toe. Also, there was never any sign that an avalanche had taken place in that area.
Yeah, I don't think it's an avalanche.
And though this is impossible to totally prove, scientists had agreed that it is unlikely that this ever took place. Now, despite this theory being practically ruled out, an avalanche still could be partially to blame. Perhaps the hikers had just thought that an avalanche was coming. Maybe they heard a loud noise or something like that, and they panicked and cut open the tent. And when they realized their mistake, they walked single file into the woods in order to get shelter.
But these are supposed to be very experienced hikers. See, now he wants to speculate. These are supposed to be very experienced hikers. Hey, thanks for the roses, Jesse Hernandez. I did not see those. I appreciate you, though. But now he wants to speculate. These are supposed to be very experienced hikers. One would assume in snowy mountains. They don't know what an avalanche sounds like? Is this the first time any of them experienced an avalanche?
In the trees. I think this situation sounds very rational, but it still doesn't explain what actually killed the hikers.
Now, I also say this. Since they did say the other hikers took clothing from the other bodies, which I don't know how in the world they would be able to tell that, but let's say that is true. I could see the other ones being moved as a show of, like, not necessarily respect so much as, like, well, they're dead. But, and then, like, you grab the stuff off of them and lay them back down. But that still doesn't explain the severe injuries. It also doesn't explain the eyes being ripped out and the tongue being ripped out while she was alive and all of that stuff. So, I mean, the tongue and the eyes solidifies that it had to have been humans.
If they really thought there was an avalanche, and that's what...
Homie with bad joints set him up. That one's going over my head. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, the dude who bailed out. That would be crazy. He's like, you guys went on without me.
Caused them to flee. Then something outside of their shelter must have killed them.
Dude, that would be haunting if you were that last person.
Such horrific injuries. With little to go off of in terms of rational theories, many have began looking to the supernatural as a cause for this tragedy, and the main talking point is typically the Yeti. Perhaps a large and violent creature was living in the remote area of the DYATLOV pass.
I'm about to click off. Like, no joke, I'm about to click off. So a human can't do it, but a Yeti can? Alright, let's hear these psychological theories.
And killed them with their strange weaponry. Personally, the
aliens did it was the other one. We're not gonna...
This remains one of the most interesting theories to me, but due to just how outlandish it kind of is, I can't totally...
This is one of the most interesting... Alright, you're losing me, Nick. You're losing me, Nick.
Being said, it is hard to completely dismiss it.
And just to be clear, I'm not saying Yetis can't exist, and I'm not saying aliens can't exist. What I'm saying is you're a moron if you think an alien randomly landed on Earth, sucked these people up, probed them, broke their ribs with their advanced weaponry that we can't comprehend, that breaks your bones internally, versus Somebody just didn't investigate this properly, and they had some soft tissue bruising.
The events at the DYATLOV Pass were
Also, anything a Yeti can do, a human could do. And took their eyebrows, exactly.
Many have blamed a strange psychological occurrence on the deaths of the hikers. For starters,
now this is going to be interesting.
Many have pinned this entire situation on paradoxical undressing. This is a phenomenon when a person is suffering from hypothermia, yet they feel as if they are overheating. This burning feeling causes the person to remove all of their clothing in an attempt to cool down, and this obviously ends up killing the person.
But why are their hands and feet burned? I don't think that they would burn their hands and feet if they thought they were... Well, wait a minute now. Okay, hear me out here. We still don't have an explanation for the eyes and the tongue and the eyebrows, so we'll keep that to the side for now. But what if they were getting so cold that they started to put fire on their hands and feet to try to heat themselves up? And then what did he just say? He said they started to feel like they were burning, so they took their clothes off, which that's a contradictive statement, because either A, the other people took their clothes off and wore them, or B, they took their own clothes off because of this, you know, psychosis or whatever you want to call this. So, I mean, it is an interesting theory that could have been how they got burns on themselves. That's one of the things that's really weird.
Even quicker. This was initially used as the likely cause of the hiker's death, as it explained why so many were improperly prepared for the cold. Also, the extreme effects of hypothermia could have also caused the hiker...
This is the most insulting visualization I've ever seen in my life.
...to hallucinate or hear things, and thus...
What is this? Why is this even on my screen right now?
...flee from a non-existent threat. And at the surface, this could appear to be the case. But digging deeper, I have to discredit this theory. For starters, the last remaining 4 hikers took the clothes from those who perished.
That's exactly what I said.
In order to stay warm.
But that's also alleged. We don't know that.
Also, a fire was found by the first 2 hikers.
I think they would have found their clothing items if they didn't, though. So that's the only thing that I think supports that theory.
Passed away. All along the DYATLOV Pass were signs and evidence that these hikers were actively looking for warmth and trying to stay alive. Plus, this theory does nothing to explain the injuries that the hikers had faced.
Right.
And for these reasons, this likely isn't what killed.
Except the burns. I could see, because they did say that they had found the branches removed from a tree, which either meant that they were trying to climb the tree or trying to start a fire, and they said they also found a fire. So I'm suggesting that why ever they left their tent didn't kill the first couple people. I think that they died of hypothermia, and that the bruises and stuff like that were probably caused from falling, running into trees, stuff like that, and the burns on their hands were from them trying to warm themselves up on a fire because their hands were numb. I think that's what happened to the first few. However, after that, clearly something else happened.
Hikers. Another psychological theory has been that the area around the DYATLOV Pass produces low-frequency wind, which creates what is known as a Kármán vortex street. This ultra-low frequency is said to cause panic attacks to many of those who experience it. So maybe the hikers heard this and fled their tent due to this paranoia, and by the time they made it down the mountain, they realized their mistake, but it was too late. Now, obviously, again, this doesn't...
Okay. We could factor these things in and not be the complete theory. Maybe someone underwent this. For instance, the 2 of the people they said tried to go back to the tent. So maybe, you know, they were like, we're just panicking, we need to get back to shelter. I could see something like that potentially happening.
How the hikers suffered such grotesque injuries. And it really just falls flat as well. But I also tend to have a hard time believing these psychological theories, simply because of the number of people present at the time of this tragedy. For all 9 hikers to have experienced the same psychological phenomenon.
Well, I mean, that's not what they're saying, Nick. You moron. They're not saying everybody experienced the same psychological thing at the same time. They're saying it could have impacted one or more of them.
And for all of them to react in the same way seems incredibly unlikely. No 2 minds are alike.
Exactly.
So the idea that all 9 of them would collectively
that nobody's saying
act
that
in a way that would surely get them killed. Physical confrontation that would have caused the minor physical.
Okay, and then the last one is the Soviet cover-up. Let's hear this.
And doesn't explain the horrific injuries, but then again, the perfect theory doesn't seem to exist in a case like this. One of the theories that I personally like the best is that the Soviets covered up the real events of what happened. The DYATLOV Pass incident was initially buried by the Soviet government for nearly 3 years after it had happened. And once it was finally revealed...
Oh, I've heard all I needed to hear. Why was it buried? They didn't want people checking the hill. They didn't want people investigating. Yeah, I've heard all I needed to hear.
To the public, inconsistencies in its reporting and in its autopsies were heavily prevalent. Now, many of what we actually know about this case is from the early Soviet reports, meaning that they could have misconstrued the information of the case in such a way that they knew no one would ever discover the truth. But if this is true, then what could they have been hiding? Well, piggybacking off of the previous theories, the government would have had reasoning to cover up a Yeti attack or an alien attack.
Jesus Christ, Nick, come on. Pull it back. You got something better. I know you got something better in there.
For obvious reasons. And potentially, the military had come in after the group had encountered these things. One member of the search party even claimed that a pair of military boot footprints were found within the 9 hikers' single-file trail.
What?
This could indicate that the hikers were ordered down the mountain by a member of the military. And from there...
I'm not gonna lie, this completely killed all of the mystery. They were killed by military. They weren't killed by UFOs and the people in the military protected them. There was a military boot print. Therefore, it was someone in the military and or in military fatigue.
Group was taken care of. But the cover-up could have also been for a more probable theory. This event took place during the Cold War, and Russia was very obviously trying to develop new and powerful weapons. And for these weapons, they would typically test them in remote and desolate regions.
Which is where radiation would have been found.
Much like the area of the DYATLOV Pass. So maybe Russia was testing rockets or bombs in the area, and when they went off, it terrified the hikers and caused them to run away from their shelter. And maybe these weapons had actually struck some of the hikers, causing their strange and terrifying injuries.
Buddy, it wasn't strange and terrifying injuries. The eyes and the tongue, yes, but everything else was just reported wrong. They had broken bones with soft tissue injuries that weren't reported.
It was even confirmed that rockets were shot at the direction of the DYATLOV Pass from a military group somewhat near the area, but officials denied that the rockets would have landed anywhere close to the group.
When? Can we get a date? Oh my god, yeah, there's no mystery to this anymore.
Whatever the case may be, the idea that the Soviets had some...
And they had one of them had a baton mark on their face. Now, why they ripped their eyebrows off and their tongues and stuff out, I have no idea. But clearly this was,
and at least covering up the incident seems entirely possible. But the question still remains, why? Despite the countless theories offered for this event, none seem to really solve everything. And it is possible that due to the improper reporting from the Soviets, that the answers to this...
Which is all you need to know. Because of the improper reporting by the Soviets, it was never found out what happened. Well, can you speculate who was covering something up? Would it be the Soviets? Because if the Soviets were covering something up, and they had the power to impact the investigation, those things align way too well. Alright. We're gonna do one more. We're gonna do, let's do this. Best Chinese food. I tried the best Chinese food in America. Yeah, let's watch
Americans
this one.
spend $60 billion a year on Chinese takeout. General Tso's orange chicken are common, but what if I told you that's not even the best stuff? Some of the greatest Chinese food in the world is being served in Chinatowns across America. Recipes and dishes that have
Oh my
existed for
god,
hundreds
I don't know if I can watch this. Yeah, I was literally about to say the same thing. I genuinely may not be able to watch this video. I am starving. My stomach just started hurting. We might have to watch this one another time, chat. I fully intended on watching this, but man, 13 seconds in, I'm thinking we're gonna have to cancel this one, chat. My stomach is on 10. I'm about to have to go grab a snack. Oof. I'm not even joking. That's not an exaggeration. I'm literally about to have to go grab a slight snack. We're gonna end this one here then, chat. Next time tomorrow, we'll watch some Chinese food because I am interested. I don't know what that is. That looks disgusting as can be. What did you say they added at Panda Express? Something new? I don't know. Just text me. But anyway, thank you guys for coming to Red's World. Stay tuned for more to come soon, and I'll see you guys in the next stream or video. Peace.